County on Zoom. I'd like Eric Dole to not lead us, but to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks a lot, Eric. We now have a public comment portion where a person from the public can comment 3 to 5 minutes on a non-agenda item. Is there anybody that wants to speak? Hearing none, we'll move on. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting?
I have not seen any additions or corrections.
Is that a motion, Eric?
Yes, I'll make a motion to accept as written.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 All three. So the minutes are approved by 3-0 vote. I'd like to have I consider a motion for the 5-1 Atchison County Commission special meetings from 5-1 2020.
I have a slight correction on that. I had to leave the meeting early, so at the end of that, there was a vote to adjourn, but it should have been 2-0 because I was already gone at that point. But that's just a minor thing. But that's just the way the record would show that it should be 2-0.
Okay, so would you want to make a motion with the corrections, Eric?
I will make a motion to accept as written, except for the last motion, which I would stand as corrected.
Okay. Bill, a second.
I'll second it. I'll second
All in favor
that.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Moving right along. Okay, commissioner comments and committee reports.
I have none this week.
I have a Zoom meeting Thursday at 1 o'clock for Project Concerned. That's all I have.
I have nothing at this point. Okay, so new business before the board. Donald, Brad, you're up.
Thank you so much for having me. I am treasurer of the Atchison Juneteenth Committee, and what we do is every year we have a celebration. We didn't have one this year because we're respecting the safety of everybody in our community and just everyone in general because of the COVID-19 virus. So we didn't have one this year, but nevertheless, what we do is we have a celebration that celebrates June 19th was when 1963, Abraham Lincoln emancipated the slaves of the United States. So it didn't get back to Texas until June of 1965, 2.5 years later. So we celebrate this. It's much like the 4th of July where we're celebrating our independence. It's a 2-day event where we celebrate, we have education, we have our What is Juneteenth program, and then Sunday, under our tent, what we do is we have a church service together where it involves all the churches in the city. It isn't a black or white thing, it's a city thing, it's a show of love, it's a show of community where we get together and celebrate a oneness as a community. So I don't know if you'd like to hear any more than that. What we do is we have a parade first on Saturday, and then we have a What is Juneteenth program. That is a program in which we try to bring back somebody that has made an impact or been influential in our community that's made it, or let's just say that they've got to their established height, or they've come to they've come into their own. Let's put it like that. But in any event, we have that first, and then we have a series of things going on during the day. We have programs, educational programs, and what have you. But it's just a labor of love that we do. None of our officers are getting paid for as such. This is just a love that we have for our community that we do. And even during the instrumental of when we first formatted, you've always been there for us. And we depend on people's donations to help us have this celebration.
So, Don, I got to tell you that it's a highlight of my summer. My family loves it. How much you requesting from the county?
Well, in the past, we requested $2,000 and we received $1,000 last year. Of course, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth, but we were asking for $2,000. But whatever we can get, we surely are appreciative of that.
So you are requesting $2,000.
We have any number from, we've had anywhere from 2,000 or 4,000 people there before on that given Saturday, but we always have the police there, we have the EMTs there, we have the emergency people there, and it's very well coordinated. We have the police there on a 24/7 basis. By that I mean, even when we're closed down after 9 o'clock, we have police surveilling the place because we have a lot of things in place, our food or ice machines and things of that nature.
Okay. Anything else, Don? Anything else, Don? Do you have anything else to add, Don?
No, that's all I have. I'm sorry. I'm hard of hearing. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I didn't understand.
Hey,
But no,
thanks a
that's
lot.
all I have. And thank you so
For
much
coming
for
today.
just.
We'll give it great consideration. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Have a
Thank you.
good day.
You too.
Okay, next is Jim Rowland, Executive Director of the Atchison Area Chamber of Commerce, and some board members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. In reaction to last week's meeting, I believe I got all of you, I think the information and documentation you were requesting. I would say that the only thing that has changed was that Jackson County, Kansas has just passed a resolution, a similar resolution that places this particular issue on their ballot in November. So, and
What county is that? I'm sorry, I missed that. What county?
Jackson County. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any specific questions that came out of the information that I provided.
No, it was very interesting. Thank you.
Thanks for the information. We're going to consider a resolution later in the meeting.
Okay,
So if you want to hang around,
you bet.
our old business.
You bet.
So, any of the other committee members want to say anything? I see you got some there. Okay. Deborah Geiger, 2020 budget, 2021 budget.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Deborah Geiger, and I am the Executive Director of the Atchison Art Association, and I sent you over a packet last week. I also have Angie Cairo with us today, who is the chairperson of our public art committees at the Atchison Art Association. And for those of you that might not know, we are a 501c3 that provides access to the arts and avenues for artistic expression in Atchison, and we do that through education, outreach, exhibition, and public art. Last year, we received some funds from you for a project that will be dedicated in September of this year. It is currently in progress, being built in studio, so I wanted to kind of give you an update on that. Tentatively, it looks like September 19th, but I have no idea what the fall looks like. And it is going to be an outdoor event since it is a public art piece. So I wanted just to give you an update on that. And then I wanted to share where we're moving towards in the future with public art for Atchison. And we have a project called Beautiful Benches, and it is essentially concrete benches throughout parks, places in our community where people would gather and set. Initially, the Art Association would like to build 3 of them and place them, one at 10th and Main at the Route to Rise, and one at the Theater of Atchison, and one at the Munchnett Gallery. And then we're hoping that this is a self-replicating project where other businesses will get involved, and we will help them raise funds to put different designs, what they feel Atchison is about or appropriate, their feelings, whatever they wanted to express onto different mosaic benches, and kind of tie a common theme throughout our communities through art and the mosaics. So that's just kind of a general overview of where we're heading in 2021. I don't know that we might not even start that this year, just because it looks like outdoor things are going to be the thing that where we're going to have the biggest impact. The Munchnett Gallery is currently closed. I don't anticipate us opening until at least June, until we kind of get figured out what's going on everywhere. So we're really moving our focus out into the community a little bit prematurely, but that's where the need actually is, and that's where we can do the most good at this time. So with that, Angie, I don't know if you have anything to add to the project?
No, I don't know if I'm popping up here, but so this project, the benches are going to be, we will come up with the concrete mold, and then the tiling is something that we will help these other groups who want to come forward. We look for groups like Boys and Girls Club, something that represents what they are doing. We are looking for even the city to put some downtown when they open up that corridor. We're in talks with them about that. But we will come forward and help them fundraise for the tiling that will go on here. The tiling is very similar to what we have done down at the farmers market area. So something that is reflective, something that is bright and colorful, that adds that beauty to that area, but also represents the different groups that we have that have really stepped forward in our community.
Just to remind you that Lincoln, in a campaign speech, stood at 423 North 5th. It might be something to think about in the future.
I think that's a terrific one for you, Jack. We'll help you do it.
Okay, I have been amazed as I travel, mostly in Latin America, the number of worldwide groups, including lots of Americans, who are out there making public art.
Oh, yeah.
It makes a big difference in our community. So
Well,
thank you very much for what you do.
It's a unique opportunity to involve anybody who wants to be involved. It's also a unique opportunity in that each community expresses in art exactly who they are effortlessly. So you can tell a whole lot about a community by what is going on in their art, in the time and what they're thinking. And so it's got a multitude of good things. Every piece of property that's next to some place that has public art automatically looks better, feels better. People have pride in their community. And if you're out helping to build it, not only are you, having personal satisfaction of that creative spirit that we all have in creating a piece, but you're inspiring other people that come by, see you do it, see it out in the community, to go back into their lives and it gives them a different perspective about their lives.
When I seen the packet that you supplied in the suggestions of what the benches may look like, immediately I thought of the tiling behind the farmer's market and the library steps. So they just, I hadn't even thought about it, but the correlation was there. So I didn't know if that was a grand scheme or it's just happening to come out that way.
Well, it seems to be one of the things that we love to do. And, you know, when we did the steps at the library, we met so many new people that came in and wanted to actually create that piece. You know, sometimes everything works out great and sometimes you just go, well, I'll try something else. But I do feel like that once we get more pieces placed into the community, it's really going to start to tie together and unify all of the other pieces that are there as well.
And you said 10th and Main, is that where the mobile art piece is?
Yeah,
Yes.
we put that in 2 years ago. Is it 2 years already?
Yeah, at the end of 2017 in September, we dedicated that. And they used, there was just a bench that they happened to have at the city that was one that was in a junk pile, literally. So we wanted to allow that to be one of our starting points and really put in where it will be a focal point. I had gotten those benches on a recent trip to Puerto Vallarta, and their community would, different groups would come forward and did tips for tiles in their farmers market and raised fund for the tiling. But it was a whole community effort to decorate that whole square with the benches and with the tiling. And so I thought, my gosh, why can't we have been doing this, so why not branch this out? And for, you know, as a relatively small project, we can bring so many groups forward, like Project Atchison, even Juneteenth. I picture these all over town, representing at Elephant Park or different areas. And I really think it's something that would be a focal point for what they do, but would represent what their group is. So that's, and to do it with bright, colorful tile like that is really, it's very eye-catching.
Thanks a lot for coming here today.
You bet.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
We
Okay,
didn't ask them what their request was. Commissioner Chairman,
yeah, I think they gave it to us.
we didn't ask what their,
It was in the packet.
that's right, that's right.
I have it here, but I gotta search for it.
2000, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea that you're asking for an amount for a specific project. I think it makes a difference. It's hard to give money to operations. So if you're doing a specific project, that's a cool thing. So,
Yeah.
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Keith, you're up. Get to see you every year, don't we? Keith, you're muted.
All right. Well, thank you for allowing me to come today to present our budget for 2021. Before I do that, I might just give you a little update about where we are through this crisis. We essentially sent all but a skeleton crew home about March 23rd, and say skeleton crew, we have office staff and a clinician or two in the office at all times for crisis, walk-in, those kinds of operations. We've been doing telehealth for all of our patients since March 23rd. Telehealth, both televideo and telephone. Those third-party reimbursement codes were opened up for telephone therapy dated back to March 23rd. And so we've been able to deliver and bill for some of those services. And we're presently billing about 60% to 65% of what we normally bill on a monthly basis. We did apply for a Paycheck Protection loan from the federal government and received that. And so that has helped to sustain us during this time. And We applied for, I think, 1.3 million, and we've expended about 500,000 of that thus far. So we're down to about $800,000 of that account. Again, our staff have rallied to continue to reach out to all of our clients with all of our services. Some of them are not able to be delivered via telehealth just because of, well, for groups, for example, that's a hard service to deliver due to confidentiality, but also just corralling young children in front of a camera is very difficult at times. So, but we're still stable. We did not lay off or furlough any staff as a result of the Paycheck Protection Loan, and continue to be available for crises on a 24/7 basis. So that's just a brief update. We also know that going into the new year, we're going to have increased expenses. We're probably going to continue to see reduced revenues. We will try and will balance our budget during this time. And it would seem that a budget increase for 2021 would be very helpful to us, but we also recognize that our taxpayers in all counties in the state are going to be stressed, I think, in the days ahead. So our budget request for 2021 is a stable budget from the previous year, and this would make the third year in a row that our budget from Atchison County would not or did not increase. And so that's basically where we are today. We're going to continue to deliver service at a high volume as we can, but we think we'll be fine financially through the end of the summer, early fall, mid-fall. We will be looking at where we are, what kind of revenues, what kind of additional assistance we might qualify for through the federal government or through the state government to maintain our operations. But we definitely appreciate and need Atchison County's ongoing support for our services. We deliver service to over 1,200, 1,300 clients a year in Atchison. And so it's a fairly large number of people that utilize our services. I'll stand for questions if you have them. Be happy to give you more, drill down to more detail as you have need.
Have you seen an uptick in stress levels since the COVID incident?
We absolutely have, and we anticipate that to get kind of worse over the next few months as the economic impact of this really begins to hit. We expect that people maybe who never utilized mental health services may reach out to us in the days ahead. As we head into the summer, late summer, early fall, we just know that some will go back to work and some will not. Some will have jobs, some will not. And we're just hopeful that the unemployment compensation continues to roll in for those who qualify. But we do expect economic stress to create additional referrals for us. Yes.
Is that more of an economic stress factor, or having all the kids at home all the time factor, or no job factor? I mean, what's the probably overarching problem?
You know, two things really. I do think that the economic impact is going to be an overarching consideration for a lot of people. But we also know that, you know, we serve a high number of youth with serious emotional disturbance. We serve youth that are involved with corrections, and their parents are used to having help and support from schools and from us, giving them respite from those youth. And we anticipate higher levels of child abuse reporting, more conflicts in the home as a result. And so we're hopeful that, well, June 1st, we're going to try to implement our summer program for youth. We're going to practice social distancing. We're going to pick them up in vans, smaller numbers, masks and gloves and cleanliness. We're working on our protocols for that, but we hope to give families some relief to provide face-to-face service by June the 1st. But right now, everything is televideo. But those are the two things: economic stress and just the stress of families staying together, congregated, that maybe don't function very well.
Maybe this would be a good time to say how would one get a hold of you now with the lower, with fewer people there? Do they need to call in? What's the best way of getting a hold of your services?
Yeah, same as always, you can call the office anytime 24/7. If it's after hours, it rings to our 800 service and they make referral to us. Our front doors are unlocked and people can walk in. There's a glass screen for our support staff and their protection as well. And they could ask for, I'm having a crisis, I need help. And they can sit down in the waiting room and our crisis counselor can call them on the telephone and make an assessment. If they are in severe crisis, we send them to the ER to be tested for COVID. And if we need to then screen them for psychiatric hospitalization, we can do that. That's the procedure we're presently using.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Have any questions for us?
I've been invited in Leavenworth County to apply for some crisis money that came to the county just to help sustain it through this crisis. I don't know if Atchison County has access to any similar funds that organizations, services like ours can apply for or to, in addition to the annual contribution, or not.
I don't think we're aware of those programs at this point.
Okay.
I'd love to hear more about it if you want to share what the actual program is.
Okay. Well, as part of the CARES Act, Leavenworth County said part of the CARES Act delivered some funding to them. And I don't know if that's because Leavenworth County is a Class 1 city or Class A city or what, but I could find out more for you.
Atchison County is a first class. Atchison City is an first class city.
Okay. Okay. Well, Mark Lothry is the one who shared that with me. He's the county administrator in Leavenworth County. And I just put the finishing touches on my application to them today. So I asked them for an extra $200,000 in emergency funding to get us through 2020. I don't know that I'll get it, but I'm going to ask.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for appearing today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Moving right along, I have a proclamation for the Atchison County EMS, and I'll just read it. I guess all three commissioners have to sign this, the original in a later date. Whereas emergency medical service is a vital public service, and members of the emergency medical teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a weekend. Whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness of injury. And whereas emergency medical service have traditionally served as a safety net of America's healthcare system. And whereas emergency medical teams consist of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, and others, and approximately 2/3 of all emergency medical service are providers are volunteers. And the members of the emergency medical service team with a career or voluntary gain thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas America benefit daily from the knowledge and skills of these highly trained individuals, it is appropriate to recognize the value of their accomplishments of emergency medical services providers designated Emergency Medical Service Week. And whereas injury prevention and appropriate use of the EMS system will help reduce national health care costs. Now, therefore, we, the board, the county commissioners of Atchison County, state of Kansas, do hereby proclaim May 17th, 23rd, up to 2020 as Emergency Medical Service Week. In Atchison County, encourage all residents to observe this week the appropriate ceremonies and activities. Obviously, this is appropriate week because this is really, this whole system has been taxed very well. And they've done one heck of a job. Okay, moving on. All the unfinished business before the board. Wes Lanter is going to, Lori Forgy are going to appear. They may not appear until 1:45. So if you run through the agenda, we might take a short recess to wait for them to appear. They are actually in a state health meeting right now to find out the latest details. County councilor updates. You have anything, Patrick?
Excuse me, Commissioner Bauer, there was, excuse me, I'll start the video. There was a proposed letter in support of the Atchison Child Care Association. I just noticed the letter just refers to Atchison Child Care and doesn't mention it by its corporate name. I don't know how important that is, if that needs to be changed to, modified to show the corporate name as Atchison, the Atchison Child Care Association.
I think it should be the appropriate name. That's an easy fix. This is something that they've requested from us. We prepared a letter, and I just want to make sure all the commissioners are on board with the letter of support.
For the public, this is just a letter of show of support from the county commission and in no way obligates us to for funding or anything like that, correct, Pat?
That's correct, yes.
That's correct. We're just showing that they're an important part of our community. And obviously 52 years is a pretty impressive stand at this point.
Do we need to get the correct wording before we take a vote on this, or what are we going to do?
We'll get the correct wording. Michelle will prepare the document. She will insert our signatures. So I would just like to have a vote of support. I guess we need a motion here. If you want to make a motion, or
Yeah, I'll make the motion to join or extend our word for this support for the Atchison Child Care Association for their grant, upcoming grant.
you know, I have a
I'll
second.
second that. I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Okay, let's go back up to, I see Wes and Lori are here. They want to give us a COVID-19 update.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello. Can we hear Lori now?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah. No, Jim.
Hey, Wes hooked me up, so.
That would make a great commercial. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
The before and after are quite stark difference here.
All right. Wes, do you want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah, sure, I'll start. So today, KDHE has changed to where they only update their numbers on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So eventually we're going to get to the same point of that also, because we won't be able to report their numbers with our numbers. So they updated their numbers yesterday. Statewide, we have 7,116 positive cases. Hospitalizations are 660. Statewide deaths are 158, and negative test results are 46,993. Of that, we are in those numbers. Positive cases as of yesterday, because we haven't got any test results in that I know of.
Not today.
Okay. We are positive cases 14, Matheson County, deaths 0, current hospitalization 0, negative test results 240. The health department is currently monitoring 44, and we've had 11 recovered from those 14 cases. So we have 3 active cases in the county currently. We release these numbers every day. They're both emailed out, posted on social media, and sent to our local media. But with KDHE changing to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we will probably follow suit because we can't accurately report their numbers on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Besides that, we presented to you guys the rough draft of the plan for phase 2, which we relaxed, and it's closer to the governor's order. We will have to wait until the governor releases her phase 2 or acknowledges that she's going to move forward with phase 2. And then once we get those orders from her, then we'll be able to finalize our plan. And then we'll have to have a special meeting with the commission sometime this week to present it to them. And we'll want to do that before we have our town hall meeting on Friday at 3:30, which will be live on Facebook. Then people can submit questions on the City of Atchison Facebook page, or the Atchison County Emergency Management, or the Atchison County page. All 3 of those have the link where you can submit questions. Survey link that we will answer during the live stream on Friday. Lori, do you want to talk about the cases that we currently have?
The what?
The cases that we currently have, the small details that you're actually allowed to report on.
So most of our cases have all had, I was able to investigate back and find where they came from. So we have one that I wasn't able to, and it was a community spread. The rest of them I have been able to trace back. I will say that the testing is increasing in Atchison. The numbers that are coming through are there's a lot of people getting tested every day. So I feel like that's one reason our numbers may start climbing. Another reason is, I mean, when we do open up more, there's going to be more exposure, which may cause more cases. And I'm not, that just may happen. But so far I've been able to trace all of them back to something.
Okay. Is there any, antibody testing done yet here?
So the hospital has been doing some antibody testing, but the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, they're not considering that an FDA approved test. So if you tested positive for antibodies, they wouldn't consider you a positive case because they're not sure what that means. And also everyone has coronavirus in their body, and there's different strains. And so they're unsure of how that's going to pull the COVID-19 out, and instead of showing the other viruses as well. So, but yes, they are starting to do it, and they are starting to look at that. They also don't know what it means. I mean, if you have antibodies, does it mean that you've had it and now you can't get it? Does it mean that you're immune for how long? And are you? So there's still a lot of testing that needs to be done, but they are starting to do some antibody testing just to see.
Yeah, that was my question, because I've heard of some of these states that are really pushing for it, but I didn't know how that was going to affect the numbers, because if they're going to count it, if you are a positive antibody, are they going to count it in cases, ongoing cases, or, how they were going to classify that? There's numbers being fluctuating around, I've even heard from New York City where they all of a sudden added 3,000 more cases in. Well, how do you misplace 3,000 cases? So you just kind of wonder, what these numbers mean, and what, when they fluctuate so wildly, how much to read into it.
Right. That probably has a lot to do with antibody testing. They're not considering it a positive case, but a probable case, and probable cases are being added into that number.
So testing rates, by the way, should look that up. Testing rates currently Atchison County is 15.8 per thousand, and the state is 18.6 per thousand. So we're close to the state rate. I have gotten in multiple tests for our hospital and for our health and for the health department also. And right now we are sitting pretty well with testing supplies. Same with the PPE supplies that we've ordered in for all of the agencies. We've done pretty good. We've been able to get most of everything we need. So now if we have a major outbreak, do we have enough currently on stock? Do all of our agencies have enough? No. But we'll continue to request more supplies in from the state to get for those agencies. Yeah, I lost my train of thought on that. So we have testing supplies. We have PPE for our people. Currently, we are comfortable to move forward with phase 2. And hopefully the governor is too, and we'll proceed forward. If she doesn't move to phase 2, we can't move to phase 2. We have to stay behind the governor. So if that happens, we'll relax a few areas of our phase 1, since right now we haven't had a major outbreak, and hopefully it continues to be that way the rest of the week. You guys have any questions for us?
Well, Wes, I saw a quote that I think is really important. It says that science can help us to stay focused without being derailed by competing agendas. And as you know, there's lots of agendas out there. And doing the right thing is always a challenge. So when in doubt, do the right thing. And that's a key. Okay. Anything else from the health department?
I can't think of anything else right now. We're currently doing appointments just on a call-in basis only. And we're really not doing a whole lot of that. But if people need to make an appointment, we're open to that. We just need to have it scheduled and everybody wears masks.
I think I heard maybe, I guess it's out there that we're going to try to get you some help. NEK Multi-County Health is trying to hire some part-time help for the tracing and the investigations. Have they finalized on that yet? Have they got someone hired?
It's not finalized yet, but they do have someone in mind, and that is going to help out tremendously. That takes so much time. Just one positive case can take 10 hours just to figure out all the contacts, contacting all the contacts. So yeah, that's gonna be amazing. And I think that is in the process and in the works. I just don't think it's been finalized quite yet.
Okay, I hope I wasn't jumping the gun, but it didn't sound like it was anything private. So I'm hoping for your sake that we can get that done.
Yes, that would be amazing.
That is FEMA reimbursable, so I've already submitted that to FEMA, as in the part-time person to help with investigations. I've already submitted some paperwork to FEMA to make sure that that's approved. They've already replied back and said that yes, FEMA will pay for 75% of that expense. So whether it's straight time or overtime for that individual, FEMA will cover that 75% of the expense of the investigator, since it's due to COVID-19.
Wes, on that vein, maybe it's a little bit off topic, but it's kind of been the theme of today that there's a lot of funding out there. Are we missing opportunities from federal funding? Are we finding out about these things? I just found out through the Guidance Center there that I believe Leavenworth County had gotten a bunch of grants or from the COVID-19, the CARES Act. How's the best way for us as commissioners to access that or find out about these things and apply for them?
I get a lot of communications through the state that they send down to me. I can forward all of that documentation to you. We have found different funds for our law enforcement to help out with that. All of the PPE that we have ordered is actually it's going to be federally funded. FEMA will pay 75% of all of the PPE that I've ordered for every agency in the county. Then the state will pay 10% of that, and the county will pay the remaining 15% of that. When I say the county will pay, whichever department took the supplies will pay that 50%. So that includes our hospital, nursing homes, health clinic, health departments, emergency services in general. As far as other funding, besides what we're currently doing, I do have the information that was emailed yesterday on the CARES Act, and I can forward that on to you guys for you to view it. That's the only one that
have not gotten anything on the CARES Act, and some of that's federal, some of it's state. I've gotten quite a bit of emails from the state, but not from federal. So, maybe take another set of eyes, but please pass anything along that's pertinent.
Trust me, I can flood your mailbox with email.
I'm afraid of what I'm asking for.
More than you even want. Also, on our special meeting, I want to discuss our phased opening of the courthouse. I'm working with all the department heads and all the elected official and department heads currently. And myself and Lori are meeting with tomorrow morning to go through a reopening plan for them also. So hopefully doing a special meeting together on a phased opening for our courthouse.
Okay.
And I would just like to say that Wes, he put out a questionnaire kind of for the restaurants to kind of have their say on how they wanted things to look. And there was really, really good feedback. Like they have really, really good ideas. So I think that that's going to go pretty smoothly.
I'm glad to hear that, because I think that's part of the pushback on some of this, is that I don't think that segment really maybe has felt like they've been heard, because it's more from the health angle more than the fiscal angle. And so if they've got somewhere to be able to put forth their views and have them that they know that they're being heard, I think that will help a lot.
And I encourage anybody that has any ideas, I mean, not just restaurants, any businesses or even individuals, if you have any questions, you can always email Wes or I, call the health department or Wes, and we'll be happy to help you as best that we can. Please reach out. Sometimes things that you see don't, because we're looking at it from another angle. And so I think that's important.
Okay.
I'd like to add something about the restaurants. I heard some comments from the public. I've heard some comments from a restaurant owner complaining about Leavenworth being open, and yes, they are. And I went to Leavenworth 3 nights in a row just for this very reason. Normally there's 30 to 50 cars, and I'm saying 5 cars or less at the restaurants. So the restaurants are open in Leavenworth, but people are not going to them. And we can't control what people do in Leavenworth, or we can't control if people from Atchison go to Leavenworth. What we try to control is to not let it spread within our county.
Okay, anything else, Wes or Lori?
I think that I'm good for now, unless you guys have anything else.
No, we're gonna move along.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next thing on our agenda is the proposed resolution liquor by the drink, which basically changes the current liquor law we have in our county, like 35 other counties in the state, that no food requirement is made. Right now it's 30% of your total business has to be food. So this resolution would eliminate it. Did the commissioners get a chance to read the resolution?
No, I did not see that it wouldn't pull up earlier, and I just pulled it up for the first time. So is this resolution to eliminate it, or is it to put it on the
Put it
ballot?
on the ballot. I will share it with you.
I'm here. I just hadn't had a chance to read it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so did it get shared?
Yes.
Okay, so do we need to look at it any longer or? See, I don't know what you see. Are you just seeing the resolution or are you seeing me in the resolution?
I'm seeing the resolution on the main computer, but I'm reading it on my my desktop. So when would this go on the ballot at which election?
November 3rd this year.
The general election.
Mhm. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the proposal resolution.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution, well, I don't have the number here, 2020.
What 2020, what 2020, what, Michelle? Can you give us a number? Is she there?
I'm
There
here
she
and
comes.
I'm so sorry. I forgot the agenda back in my office.
Okay,
I can
Okay.
run and go get it to get a number for you.
okay,
On the agenda, it says 146.
146, then it has an X, so I didn't know what that meant.
I think it would be 1465. Was the solid waste management plan the last resolution?
I think she's running to her office.
I believe that's the last one.
Okay, the chair would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2020-1465, liquor by the direct resolution, placing on the ballot of the general election November 3rd.
I want to make a motion. Now this, to me, is, it's not an endorsement of, or, I mean, I'm really neither for or against it. I would not make a motion to do away with it without going to the ballot, but when we have the choice that the public can vote on it, that's the way I'm for that. So I'll make the motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second on Eric's comment is exactly where I'm at. I don't want to be one of three votes that makes the decision. I think if we let the public vote on it, if it passes, that's what they wanted. If it fails, that's what they did not want. I think that's fair.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Congratulations, all the committee members who worked on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Executive session, do we have any reason for an executive session? Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
do we need to discuss anything about our nursing home?
Jamie, are you there?
I am here.
Do we need an executive session?
If you guys have some discussion, we probably would be a good idea, yes.
Okay. So, Chair would entertain a motion to go to executive session. It would be-
I
I
wish,
so move.
do we need
Go
to,
ahead,
we'll have
Eric.
to read that template. Do
We'll
we
have
have?
to go-
It would be for non-elected
We're gonna have to-
personnel. I don't have the verbiage in front of me.
I don't either. Pat, would you have that?
I will in a moment.
Personnel matters of a non-elected official.
But to pass muster, we got to have the verbiage correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
So the motion would be that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 1:55 PM for, sorry, I got the wrong one. To discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel as allowed by KSA 75-4319, subsection B1. The purpose of the closed session is to protect the privacy rights of the employee. The executive session will be conducted in a virtual breakout room using the Zoom platform, and the commission would return to the meeting from the executive session at what time? I don't know what time, how long?
15 minutes?
I'd say that would be fine.
So
15
at 2:11 p.m., either on the Zoom platform or in the commission room, first floor courthouse in open session. And those present would be the county commissioners and who else?
Jamie Madison and yourself?
I guess.
I'll second that motion.
You're muted, Jack.
I raise my hand. Passes 3-0.
Aye.
Okay. So now we leave, correct?
The thing will come on and say, there you go. There's the breakout room. See you on the other side. Okay, we're back. The next thing on the agenda is public comment. Anybody want to make a comment about non-agenda items? Okay, not hearing any. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion at 2:11.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'll see you next time.
Okay,
See you at
thank
the
you.
special meeting, whenever that is. Thanks, Jamie, Pat.